Oh yeah, yeah, this is good right here. Excuse me. My fault, my bad. Excuse me. Bruh, y'all shouldn't even be sitting that close. We supposed to be socially distancing. What's up with that? Yeah, hey, what's up? Hey, my man. Hey, can you move over a little bit, man? That's a good seat, man. You ain't even got no mask on.
Oh, dude, man, you need to be watching Netflix.
Yeah, okay. Hey y'all, I am so excited about this new series that I'm doing for singles. And I'm excited because I feel like you all are so discriminated against in this world, especially in the church. Like we view y'all as just having all this free time and y'all should be helping out in children's church. Y'all should be chaperoning on youth retreats. Like we give all y'all should help out in the parking lot and set up and break down because you're single. We believe y'all should babysit our kids. It's crazy, man, the discrimination you all get. And then even in workplaces, like you can have a single woman working the same job, same position, same experience as a married woman with young children. And it seems like the supervisors give the single woman that work that requires her to stay over or stay late and all that because he knows or she knows that the young married mom will have to get to aftercare on time. And it's just like y'all don't have a life of your own. Like it's just so inconsiderate on so many levels. And then there's even more discrimination. You know what I noticed? If you get to be a certain age and you're still unmarried, never married without children, people start looking at you with the side eye. Like you can be in your 50s and be divorced and have children, and now you're single because you're divorced and you got grown children, and everybody think you're normal. But if you're in your 50s and you ain't never had kids and you ain't never been married, now people looking at you like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? Like not applauding you for having the wisdom and the contentment to not settle for a bad marriage. The other person who ended up maybe in a failed marriage gets credit, like they're considered normal and you're considered strange. Like, what's up with that? But you know what? In spite of all of those discriminations, my focus is gonna be on y'all for the next 4 weeks. All of my attention is gonna be on single people. And here's what we're calling it, Verified. This series is called Verified. And the concept comes from the Instagram blue check you get once you've reached a certain level of status, brand awareness, or personal acclaim or fame in life. And I don't know who it is that determines who gets verified on Instagram, but I know this. It is God Himself who verifies every human being. It is God who says you're stamped. God says you're enough. God says you're qualified. God says you're sufficient. Without a man, without a woman, without a boo, without a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, without a husband, without a wife, without a ring, you alone are enough. And so what the goal of this series is to not only affirm that, it's also to give you the tools and resources you need to be successful at whatever stage you're in life as a single person. We're going to talk about all kinds of single topics to help empower you as a single. Now we're going to start off today with something that a lot of single people struggle with, and it's what I call singlehood fatigue. Singlehood fatigue. It's when you're just tired of being single. And here's something I found out over 10 years ago. I found that there's a connection between a sore foot and a desperation to get married. I really did. Check this out. A few months ago, I started having this pain in my heel, and after coping with that pain for several weeks, I went to my primary care physician, and he diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis in my foot. And I've shared this with you all before here, and so along with the diagnosis, the doctor gave me these things that I needed to do to get better, to feel better, including stretching the Achilles and stretching the calf and icing it and different treatment that I needed to do. And he said, if after 3 to 6 weeks after doing those things, if it doesn't get better, you got to have a cortisone shot. And so when I shared that publicly here at this church, I had people coming up to me and sharing all this advice with me. And some people were like, man, you just got to get that shot, man. This is going to be it. You ain't going to feel better till you get the shot. Just go and get the shot. And then I had some people say, no, don't get the shot. Stretch it, ice it, get off of it, rest it. Make sure you take some ibuprofen. Somebody said, take a frozen water bottle and roll your foot on that. And somebody suggested that I wrap my foot up in a fresh collard green. I did. And so I got a lot of advice, and I did some of it, and I did a lot of it I didn't do. And I didn't do anything consistently. That's the main thing. I didn't do anything consistently. And so my foot is still hurting. And so about 2 weeks ago, I got fed up. I was done with it. Had enough. And so I called the podiatry specialist. I got an appointment with the specialist podiatrist. And and I remember on my way to the doctor's office, as well as when I went in the doctor's office, I had one thing in mind: cortisone shot. I wanted some quick relief from this annoying pain. I was tired of my foot hurting. I was tired of waking up limping in the morning. I was tired of limping getting out the car. I was tired of limping out the barber chair, the barber shop. I was just tired of my foot hurting. I was sick of it. And I was tired of doing the stretching. I was tired of icing it. I was tired of sleeping with this apparatus on my foot to keep it upright at night. Even though I did none of that consistently, I was tired of all of it. I just wanted my foot to stop hurting. And so when I got in there, I talked to the doctor. I told him, look, this is what's going on. This is what I've been going through, and this is what I want. I want that shot. I want that shot. And so his response was, well, Mr. Battle, I could give you the shot. But here's what you need to know. There's some things you need to know first before you get the shot. Number one, there are 4 things that you need to understand. First of all, before he gave me those 4 things, he says, you have to understand, Mr. Battle, that you have acute inflammation in your heel. And he started pressing on it. And he started pressing on that area of my foot. And he says, and this inflammation in your heel is being caused by the plantar fascia in your foot being very, very tight. And he says, now there's nothing wrong with a cortisone shot. He says, but you need to know and apply this first before I give you the shot. He says, first of all, you need to know this. You need to know that it's not a 100% guarantee for improvement if I give you the cortisone shot. As a matter of fact, 20% of the people who get the cortisone shot experience no improvement. And then some of those people experience negative results as a result of the cortisone shot. And it's a painful shot. He says, secondly, you need to understand that even if the cortisone shot takes away the pain, it will not fix what was causing the pain. The cortisone shot will not stretch out your plantar fascia. Then the third thing he said was, he says, even if I give you this shot, Mr. Battle, the shot will not improve the structure and quality of the shoes you wear. I'm like, oh, you joning? Now you're joning them. So he said, a shot will not put arch support in your shoes, which you desperately need. A shot will not put heel support in your shoe, which you desperately need. He said, and in addition to that, fourthly, Mr. Battle, if I give you this shot and you don't do the things necessary to treat what's causing the pain, the stretching, the icing, all the other treatment, then all you're going to do is the shot is going to mask what's really happening in your foot. And so you're going to still have a problem. You're going to have a temporary relief, but the problem is going to come back to haunt you. So he says, I suggest that you not get the shot without doing the work first. Because if you get the shot, if you do the work, then I give you the shot. Now the shot can work in conjunction with the healing process, And instead of the shot being an illusion, as if the problem is gone when it's really still there. So here's what he said. If you get the shot, Mr. Battle, without doing the work, the problem is going to come back to haunt you down the road. Now, what does that have to do with the Love Boat? There are a lot of single people who look at marriage like I looked at that cortisone shot. Just like I was tired of that annoying, disappointing pain of having plantar fasciitis in my foot, there are a lot of single people who are tired of dealing with the annoying pain of being single. Tired of being by yourself. Tired of living life solo. Tired of going to family events by yourself and then getting to the event and somebody trying to hook you up when you get there. That's your real cousin. Go on over there and talk to him. That's your play cousin. That's your play. That's Rollo's stepfather's nephew. Go ahead over there. That's on the mother-sister side. Just go on over there. Go over and introduce yourself. Tired of that. Tired of hearing your parents say, when am I going to get some grandchildren? Tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. Tired of being sort of lumped into a pool of people with alleged issues. Tired of wondering if people are wondering if something's wrong with you because you ain't got nobody. Tired of wondering what people are thinking about you because you haven't jumped a broom or tied a knot yet. Tired of having to check the single box on every application. Tired of having to keep checking divorced, widowed, and single on all questionnaires. Tired of having people say, when are you going to settle down and get married? There's more to life than working and going to church and making money. Tired of it. To be frank with you, there are some single people who are sick and tired of being single. And marriage can change all of that. But here's the problem. If you get that shot without doing the work first, you're going to have problems down the road. I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired on my own. Won't you help me, girl, soon as you can? Please.
Can you keep it down a little bit?
Huh?
Can you keep it down a little bit?
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I ain't mean to do that to y'all. But y'all leaving? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's the song I thought of. I wonder if you as a single are thinking about that song. Has that Al Green song been playing in your head? I'm tired. I know you're tired. I ain't even hating on you. I feel you. Sometimes it's exhausting, just being single. But I tell you this, it's better to be tired of being single than to be trapped in a bad marriage. You should type that in. Y'all should type that right now in the chat room. Type these words, I'd rather be tied than trapped. And the reason why that's so important, why it's better to be tired of being single than trapped in a bad marriage, because it's hard to get out of that one. It's hard to get out of a marriage. And a lot of people who are tired of being single are rushing into committed relationships by running a whole lot of stop signs and moving too quickly to marriage. And a lot of the things that are moving the people are really just superficial. When Adam was made in Genesis 2:7, the Bible says he was made from the ground. He was formed from the ground. God formed him from the ground. Then the Bible says, and God breathed into him the breath of life. And the man became a living person. He formed him, then he filled him. He formed him, then he breathed life into him. His formation was important, but without what God filled him with, he couldn't have operated. I want to stop right there and tell ladies in here, particularly single ladies, stop just focusing on how he's formed and figure out what he's full of. Y'all woke yet? You're focusing on calves and you're missing his character. You're looking at his abdominals, but you don't know what his ambition is.
You're looking at his chest, but is he a man of chivalry? What is he full of? I didn't say form was unimportant, but it cannot be. What God formed him with was dirt. What he filled him with was divine. It's got to be more important. What's in you? Look at a man in this room. I don't care if you know him. Just say, what's in you? What's in you? We're going to get raw in here today. Yeah, what's in you? What's in you, Slim? You got to look past his form and his fashion to what he's filled with. Y'all tripping off his wardrobe and tripping off his hair. Can you live with what's in him?
Oh, it's heating up in here now. Yeah, y'all better stop being superficial out in these streets. I'm telling you now, just getting with people just because of how they look. Y'all better be smarter than that, hooking up with people just because they got a big butt. It may not even be real. Some of these butts ain't even real now. And even if it's real, some people out here fell in love with a body and lost their mind. Huh? Take Samson, for example. Samson married a woman just because she was fine. He didn't even know her. He married her simply because she looked good. Ain't that crazy? Go ahead, play the clip.
But Samson is an indicator of how you can pay attention to a life that is going down. The first thing he does when he goes down is he saw there a young Philistine woman. In fact, the New Living Translation said he saw a woman that caught his eye. She had his nose open. She blew his mind. She was fine. And he saw her, and she looked so good, he went back home and told his parents, I saw a woman in Timnah, now go get her to be my wife. Now, we already there. He hadn't have a conversation with her, doesn't know her background, doesn't know where she works, doesn't know her family history, doesn't know what she believes. All he knows is that she pleased his eye. She caught his eye. You got to go deeper than fine. Because if you just operate on the surface, you'll just follow your flesh. Because we're made up of body, soul, and spirit. Body, soul, and spirit. Flesh, soul, and spirit. Our flesh is usually what we allow to lead us relationally. Our flesh is only about comfort. What can I get and what can I get now? The key word to verse 2 is the word now. I want her to be my wife now. I want to get married now. That's all flesh. I want comfort now. The emotional part of us, our soul, is where we house our emotional pain. It's where we have our feelings and our wishes and our dreams. Our spirit is the governor within us who leads us into all truth. The problem is we don't let the spirit lead us in relationships. We're usually led by our flesh. And when you're led by your flesh, you'll stop at fine. But there's always something underneath fine. See, because people won't tell you, people don't put out the stuff about, they don't put that on their resume, the real stuff. When people on social media, when you see a picture of a woman that's fine on social media, under her Avi, it doesn't say anything negative. It says, I love God, I love music, I love poetry, I love taking barefoot walks in the sand, spitting watermelons on a hot summer day. I love this, I love this. She don't put on there, I stabbed my last boyfriend and I got an ex parte against me right now. Ain't nobody putting that, but that's up under fine. When on his Facebook picture, he got a picture of himself 10 years ago when he was in shape. He got that picture up there. He gonna put on there, I love God, I love business, I'm an entrepreneur, my kids come first. He like that on there. He don't put on there, he a porn addict and he don't pay child support. He ain't putting that on there, but that's under fine. Look at somebody and say it gotta be more than fine.
Y'all hear them crickets? I'm just saying. Let me make a point here. I'm not trying to say that everybody that looks good is crazy and violent. That would be asinine. There are some people who are beautiful inside and out, for sure. All I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes we get so caught up in how a person looks, we end up missing a lot of important information that we need to know about the person. So here's a principle that I want you to grasp. You ready? Look past looks. Come on, chat room. Look past looks. Because some of us are so focused on looks that you can meet somebody who would be the bomb mate for you, but you don't give them any attention relationally because in your mind, they don't look good enough. And I'm saying, you gotta go deeper than that. You gotta look past looks. Now, I am not saying looks don't matter. I'm not saying looks are not important. They are important. But they're not more important than the whole package of a person. I'm saying go deeper than, see how beautiful a person is, then go deeper. Let me give you an example. When I drive down a street in my car, I see things. But when I jog down that same street, I see more things. See what I'm going? And if I ever walk down that street, I see just about everything. What's the point you're trying to make, Keith? The point is, take your time.
When I look at what Samson did and how he saw this woman and said, I want to marry her, and married her, it's so shallow, it's shocking. But then I thought about all of us who had the same experience. The first day I laid eyes on her. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The first time ever I saw your face, I knew that was the one, shawty. It happens. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I think you should take a deeper look before you dive in.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you why a lot of important information is missing early on in relationships. It goes unobserved. It's because of the way a lot of single people approach relationships. A lot of single people tend to do more performing than investigating.
Most people who are single, who are in the dating space, if you will, tend to be auditioning. That's a good word right there. Most people out here who are not in a committed relationship, and some who are even in a committed relationship, are really performing. It's really an audition. An audition is you're always on stage. It's like it's an ongoing audition because you don't know when you're going to be chosen or if you're going to be selected. And so you have to always have your best foot forward. And you have to always be on top of your game. And so that's why you'll see somebody who will never be caught outdoors with their hair undone or uncovered. Never. I remember one time I reached for a woman's hat who I knew her hair wasn't done. I kind of knew her, and I swear I thought she was going to stab me for even looking like I was, like it's not, that ain't no game. Like there are people who will never be caught wearing something that in any way highlights any imperfection in their body. Never be seen like that out in public. People who work so hard to perfect their imperfection. If you got a flat butt, you'll wear something to make it poke out. Or there are people who go to get a surgical thing and put butt support or whatever. If a person has a protruding stomach, all the men got big shirts on because we don't want nothing hanging out. Like, I'm not being condescending. We all do it. Look, let me say it. This is the move of a man with stomach issues. This is what we do. The whole time we sit there, we keep going like this with the shirt. Keep trying to pull that joint out. Like, yeah, man, be at the cut. All day he be like that. Yeah. So what I'm saying, what you doing, man, with your shirt? We're all conscious of our idiosyncrasies and our flaws and our shortcomings, and we spend so much time trying to keep. You never want to be caught smelling bad. Never want to be caught not looking right. Always on stage. And then beyond the physical thing, which some people will go through, starving themselves to have the look that they hope would get them a thumbs up, or doing brutal workouts to try to get there, and sacrificing so much to try to have the look to be accepted by somebody that we hope will say we're good enough. Yeah, just give me a nod or something, because I know you got to be quiet in here. Just wink at me. So, and then it goes beyond that to the financial and professional game we play. Like we have to kind of perpetrate a fraud about what we really do for a living to try to make, because you can't just say, I do. You can't just tell people what you really do. You got to. That's why some people won't even apply for a job that doesn't have a title or a label that's impressive to society. Like you don't hear any people talking about they have servant jobs, even though that's a high thing before God. The people want to, even if they're in service, they'll say, I'm in management. Yeah, I'm in management. What is that? I'm in management. Because I have to, and then we lie about how much money we make. We lie about all of those things. And then we try to impress people we drive cars. The car is not even out of our price range. It ain't even in our name because our credit was too bad to get the car. So we're driving a car that ain't even in our name. And then we have on clothes that are not based on a budget, because we don't even have a clothes budget. Our clothes budget is not based on what is economically prudent. Our clothes budget is based on what will give me the higher likes and the higher thumbs up amongst people who may take interest in me. Are y'all following me? And then it goes to a whole different level when you go to social media, because social media gives you an opportunity to actually filter digitally and strategically filter your stories to create a world and a lifestyle that's merely a fraction of what the truth is about your life. So now, in fact, some of us are so good at posting stuff that ain't really the real us that we're impressed with it. Like, that's a bad, you impress yourself with that post. And then beyond that, then you have the person who tries to, they're always auditioning with their mind and their mouth. So they always have a comment on the latest news, on the hottest topics, on the latest information, because they have to be impressive intellectually. And so what I'm saying is, because everybody's auditioning, you really don't know who you're dealing with. Stay with me. It's really difficult to find out, who are you? No, who are you really beneath the surface of this facade? Because whenever you're auditioning, you're trying to be selected. And the reason why we don't have to audition with God is because he already chose us with all of our imperfections. But because people are not like God, we tend to show our best selves to them. So our best foot is always forward. And whenever you're auditioning, you tend to take less interest in others and put more emphasis on being interesting to others. Okay, let me do it like this. So let's say for example, if I told you you only had 5 minutes to impress somebody that you wanted to impress, and you only had 5 minutes to do it, you're going to do whatever it is you're great at doing. If you're a singer, you're going to sing during that 5. If you're excellent at singing, if you're a chef, you're going to prepare a meal that would impress the person. If you're a great parent and you want to impress somebody with your parenting, you're going to introduce them to your favorite child and tell all their accomplishments. If you're a physically fit person, you're a bodybuilder, you're going to probably take your shirt off or do something if you're a guy, and you're going to wear something to accentuate your muscle groups. Here's the thing. If you're a poet, you're going to drop some lines on the person. But here's the thing. The poet will probably not take their shirt off. That wouldn't make sense, right? And then the singer's not going to go get on the drums. And then the drummer is not going to speak like I'm speaking. Everybody's going to put their best foot forward. And what I'm saying is, there is a way to discover, thank you, Lord, there is a way to discover who a person really is, and it is through the art of curiosity. Curiosity is a gift that will give us information about a person through asking the right questions that will reveal who we're really dealing with. The problem is that curiosity is suppressed when I'm auditioning, because when I'm auditioning, I'm more interested in being interesting than I am interested in knowing who you are. It's sort of like Samson and this woman from Timnah. Samson said, she looks good, I want to marry her. Obviously, Samson was a good-looking guy because all they presented to each other was their strengths. But what Samson didn't know about her was, he didn't know what kind of family she came from. He didn't know how she would handle pressure. He didn't know about her background. And she didn't know he had anger problems. He had lust problems. He was disobedient. He was slick, and he was conniving. She didn't know none of that about him. So even though we know that the musician can play and the singer can sing and the artist can paint and the parent can parent, do you know how they handle their money? And do you know how they respond to pressure? And do you know if they cheat on their taxes? And do you know what kind of secrets they have? We don't know any of that, so we just move forward with the surface stuff. And because both people are auditioning, here's what you have to understand. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're doing all the talking, that means you are yielding to the temptation of auditioning. Because when you can humble yourself, you get more curious about the other person.
Whew. That's good right there. That's good right there. See, we so busy being interesting, we forget to be interested. That's so good right there. Because when you're so busy being interesting and not being interested, you don't get the information you need on the person. You gotta shift your mind from an audition to more of an interview. That's good. I'm out of time, y'all. But listen what we're gonna do. Before we go, I'm gonna give you some tools you can use, some steps you can take to get the information you need in a burgeoning relationship. And it all starts by asking the right questions.
Here's another thing I want to give you because I'm running out of time. It's what I call the airplane talk. All I'm trying to do is get below the surface. The airplane talk. Keep this in mind. The airplane talk is when you get on an airplane and you're traveling and you're sitting next to somebody that you don't know, a way of conversing with that person is basically, the conversation is based around three things all the time. Like one is, so where are you headed? Now you think if you're on the same plane, you would know that, but not necessarily because of their connections. And then states are so big. If we both going to LAX airport, I might be going to Sherman Oaks to visit family. You might be going to Hollywood for business. We're not going to the same place, even though we're landing at the same airport. So where you're headed is a destiny question. Always ask people where they're headed. Always talk to people about their goals. If a person doesn't know where they're going, you need to be aware of that. Then the next question is, what brings you to LAX? What's your activity? What do you do for a living? By the way, when you ask somebody what they do for a living, always pay attention when you ask questions to the information gaps. Information gaps. Okay, in the world of curiosity, God has wired our minds neurologically in a way when there's information gaps. If there's a gap in information, something happens in our brain that gets excited about closing the gap. If it's something we don't know and it remains unknown, there's something that excites us about getting to know it, that bridge. Or we shut it down because, well, you know, they're not going to tell me, so I ignore the desire to get it, or I'm not going to be able to comprehend the information. But for the most part, we are wired in such a way to be curious. It's just suppressed when we're auditioning. We are wired to be curious. In fact, let me give you a quick thing. Here's a way of feeding your curiosity, because you're going to be a better person in life by asking good questions, because you learn more when you ask questions. There's a man named Jeff Hoffman who started Priceline.com, and here's a way you can feed your curiosity. He says 10 minutes every day, do something he calls info sponging. Info sponging is when you You follow a path of your intuition, and you study something that you know nothing about. Like read something that you have no knowledge of. Read something you don't understand. Expose yourself to something you don't know, and just take 10 minutes to do it, and then write down something you learned from it. Even if you don't understand, just write down whatever you took away from it. What it does is it opens your mind up to explore. That's very important. Now let me go back to these interview questions, how you talk to somebody you're in a dating relationship with. When there's an information gap, let's say you say, what do you do for a living? And the person says, well, I like working with kids. Or they say, I like writing music. Or what do you do for a living? I like landscaping. What they're telling you is they're unemployed. And what they would like to do, if you know somebody who can get them the opportunity. Because you don't have to tell me you like it if you're doing it. If you ask somebody, here's another one. Here's another one. When you go to the history question, it says, let's say you're taking off from an airport in New York or wherever you are, and you're taking off from that airport, you say, so is this your home? Like, is this home for you? Like, where are you from? I've talked about that to y'all before. Where are you from? What's your history? Like, tell me about your family. Now, here's what the system will do. A person don't want you to know. When you say, tell me a little bit about your family, they'll be like, what you want to know? Just know that they don't want you to know anything but that they're fly, that they smell good, that they dress good, whatever. They don't want you to go. Don't go in there. But then you say, well, tell me about what you want to know about my family. Well, tell me about where you grew up, the home you grew up in. Well, my father wasn't there a lot. My mother, she was doing her own thing. I got 2 brothers. They was doing their own thing. My 2 sisters, they doing their own thing. That's a heck of a gap, information gap right there. Always pay attention to the gaps. Because, see, here's the thing. Most of us want to be seen, want to be chosen, but we don't want to reveal the secrets. We don't mind revealing the secrets of things that happen bad to us, because everybody's for the victim. What we don't want to reveal is the reckless, stupid, dangerous, criminal stuff that we've done. Yeah. So we don't want to reveal that because that could blow it right off the top. And I'm not saying go into every conversation and reveal everything. I'm talking about people you're interested in. You got to get to this information. For Samson and this woman to get married without any information on each other was reckless. And people are doing it all the time because they fell in love. They fell in love. Don't fall, stand up.
You don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. Listen, y'all, I got to go. It's time to wrap this up for this week. I want to recap, though, before I leave. I want to show you a recap of what we covered today. Here's what we're going to do. Remember, all these points we made today, be curious. Don't audition so hard you forget the interview. It's better to be tired than to be trapped. I alone am enough. Pay attention to what we learned today and make sure you apply it in your relationships. And I'm going to come back next week and I'm going to talk to you about an effective way of doing your due diligence in the early stages of a relationship so that you can effectively get the information you need. So I'll see you next week. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to your campus host to close us out in prayer.